This episode of Ladies Who Leap is brought to you by Pacific Business Partners. Pacific Business Partners helps women entrepreneurs replace the chaos of running a business with clarity, structure, and confident financial decisions. From bookkeeping and fractional CFO support to marketing strategy and operations, founder Angelica Wheaton and her team build the systems that let you finally step out of the day-to-day and lead. Learn more at pacificbp.com or follow them on Instagram at Pacific Business Partners. Welcome to the empowering world of the Ladies Who Leap podcast, where brave souls share their remarkable journeys of venturing beyond their comfort zones to craft lives filled with passion and purpose. Have you ever looked in the mirror after retiring or being laid off or leaving a career you've spent decades building and quietly wondered, who am I now? In today's episode, I sit down with Bronwyn Gorman, who spent more than 30 years as a corporate executive before an unexpected career change became the catalyst for discovering her true passion. Sound familiar? We talk about overcoming the loss of identity, finding confidence again, and why it's never too late to create a life filled with passion, purpose, and joy. If you're standing at the edge of your next chapter or know someone who is, you don't want to miss this next inspiring conversation. This is Ladies Who Leap. Hi, welcome to the Ladies Who Leap podcast. I'm so glad you're here. And today I have my guest is Bronwyn Gorman. She is a transformational coach, inspiring speaker, and former supply chain operations executive with over 30 years of leadership experience. As a certified transformational life coach and life mastery consultant through the Brave Thinking Institute, Bronwyn combines her real-world leadership experience with proven transformational principles to help individuals break through limitations, unlock their potential, and achieve extraordinary results. Her message is both inspiring and practical, and I love this message. It's never too late to design a life filled with passion, purpose, and joy. Welcome, Bronwyn.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I'm very excited to be here with you today.
I am too. And I love the fact that you say it's never too late. And I want everybody to continue to hear this. When people say it's never too late, it's because those of us, because I am similar in your sense, have found our purpose and passion later in life. Mm-hmm. And how wonderful to find it. It doesn't matter what age you are, just embrace it. Find it and look for it, even at a later age, if you haven't gotten there. And that's what people like Bronwyn and myself are here for, is to help you with that.
Well, and we said, if I could add to, I think our passion changes. I was very passionate about what I did for 30 years and I loved it, but I was presented with the opportunity to change and go a different direction. And this was always a passion that was in there brewing. But I think passions change as you get more experience. You go through life, you learn more. So, it's not as though it's something that I did 30 years of something that I didn't really love. Loved it. But here's an opportunity to do something different. And it's never too late to change which direction you want to go.
Thank you. I love that. I always start with someone's childhood, and I understand your mom had a big influence on your beliefs about women's roles and resiliency. Can you talk to us and tell us all about that, about your mom?
Yeah, I am always happy to speak about my mother. She is such a strong woman. She's going to be celebrating her 100th birthday in July.
Wow.
And yes, and so she is a picture of longevity and really being healthy and living life. And most importantly, she's kept her brain very, very busy, reading just tremendous amounts of books. But my mother became a widow when she was 48 years old, and she still had four kids at home. I was the youngest, I was 11. And my mother had been a mom who stayed home and raised her kids and took care of the house. And she did not drive. And so when my father passed away, she lost not only the man she was madly in love with, she lost her freedom, her ability to get around. And her question really was, how am I going to support this family? And she pulled herself up, even though devastated by the loss. She went back to school and she got her RN degree. And she graduated near or at the top of her class in nursing school. And then she went to work in a oncology side of the medical hospital world. And she nursed for many, many years after, going back to school and of course getting her license and buying her first car. And she really demonstrated to me, you always have to be able to land on your feet. And you always have to be able to pick yourself up and take yourself where you want or need to go. And she just showed me a strength of being, a woman who is now raising the family alone, has to support us financially, and what she did to do that while suffering from such significant heartache. And she's just always demonstrated that strength and the ability to, you do the right thing, you do what you need to do, and you really take care of yourself because you're taking care of other people too. So she's been my rock through life, and I am so fortunate to, have her and have had her for this many years. A lot of people don't have their moms for this long.
And a lot of people don't have such a wonderful role model as a mom, too. She was an exceptional role model. And how admirable is that she got into oncology because it
Yeah.
was your dad that had passed from cancer. Is that
Yeah.
correct? Yeah. So
Yeah.
she took that experience and really directed her life to help others that are going through the same thing. It's
Absolutely.
so amazing. What an
Mhm.
amazing mom.
Yes.
So we talked a little bit about your work life in the bio, but you experienced it in the corporate world. You were a
Mhm.
leader in the corporate world. What did those years teach you that you're able to now use with clients in this new career of coaching?
Well, I was in leadership for the vast majority of those years. So I had the great fortune of working directly with people who were building their careers, who were developing, who were learning. And what I learned from that is working with thousands of people in those jobs. I understand how unique every person really is and how unique the approach needs to be with people. Although I have I do have a structure to my program, it is very unique for each person. And I cannot walk in with a cookie cutter approach to how I do my job. It really has to be tailored to that person. And in doing that, I can touch them in a way they understand. Um, and it allows me the opportunity to do something that I did learn while working with these people is most people are not as confident about where they can go as they should be. They don't realize how strong and powerful they are. And I have the great pleasure of being able to encourage them to help them see what their potential is when maybe they cannot see it or they don't believe it.
Yeah.
And so during my career, I was able to help many, many people to succeed and to be promoted and get to a job that a lot of them never thought they'd even have that opportunity. And that's my opportunity with my clients that I work with.
Yeah, that's great experience. And I did read a long time ago that women looking to move up to get promoted, when they look at the job that they're thinking about going into, they need to really feel that they have like 90% of those skills. Whereas a guy will look at it and go, "Hey, I'll learn as I go. As long as I have like 60%, 70%, I'm good to go." So I imagine that it's a little even more difficult to convince women that they can do a new job or get a promotion. Yeah.
Oh, totally. That's totally true. And I must have read the same information because it was, men will say, oh, I got 60%, I'm good. And women are saying, oh, I'm only 95%. Maybe I shouldn't put my name in. And yes, it is very, very interesting that women are less apt to see their strengths than the stereotypical man. Not all men, of course, but it's just from the studies they've done, it really looks that way.
Yeah. So, what was the catalyst in moving away from working for others? I know you enjoyed your job, but what is it that happened that really pushed you towards the coaching?
Well, I had worked for a company for about 30 years, and then I moved to a different company, and I was with them for about 2 years. And honestly, I'd probably still be at that company right now if I wasn't presented with, I was actually forced. I had to look at what was next for me because the company I worked for made the decision to close down their West Coast operations, which included the facility I supported. So I once the facility closed down, I needed to decide, did I want to go and try to get another job similar to what I was doing? And really what my heart was telling me was, you know, I really want to see if I could be a life coach. My degree was in sociology with a minor in psychology. So I had always over the years really thought, "God, what would that have been like if I would have pursued some type of coaching or, taken my education further?" And that was really calling me. And I took some time off after my facility closed down. I took some time off and I really started to experience a feeling of, this not working, this doing this, playing pickleball or going to lunch or whatever. It's not rewarding enough to me right now. So I really started to look at it as I had lost my identity.
Mm.
And an opportunity allowed me to take a workshop and it really about coaching, life coaching, and it just stuck. And so that's why I started to pursue it. So I was initially forced into it, but I think it was a gift because it made me look at that.
That is so true. And I do, when people get laid off, a lot of times I'm saying, look at it as a gift. Congratulations. It's the universe saying you can now pursue something else in your life because you really were supposed to. And so we're giving you a gift of being laid off.
Yeah.
And I'm from being laid off though, even as you went through that process, how did that change in your life affect you emotionally?
Yeah, it was
Mm.
tough. It really was. The feeling of not having an identity because I had worked so many years, I'd worked so many hours, and I really gained so much positivity and so much structure in my life because of the work. But I took such pride in the job I did. And when I wasn't doing that, I suddenly felt I really, I didn't know who I was. And I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd think, what am I going to do today that is going to make me feel like I'm contributing and make me feel like I was doing something I took that I offered value. And I reached a point, and it's interesting, Lisa, because I reached a point where I thought, I need to figure this out, and I'm struggling figuring it out myself. And I literally went online to my healthcare provider and I found local counselors. I didn't want like a psychologist. I really wanted someone who was more maybe more toward the social work, more towards just the life coaching. But what my insurance covered, I got 10 names and numbers of people located nearby. I called all 10. Two of them replied. And out of the two, I chose one and I went to one session and I felt like I was kind of cookie cuttered in that meeting. And she wanted me to take these tests and she really did not start in that first session. And yes, maybe I was being impatient, but I wanted to feel like she was connecting to me and listening to me instead of just putting me into the structure. But it really dawned on me, gosh, there's got to be more people like me who just want someone to help them walk through their decision making, their thought process to get to the point where they could answer the question of who am I? What am I doing? Because I usually can work through the process that's in my head. I can just kind of think on it and I can work through. And this one, I really struggled. I needed someone to help me get over the hump. I didn't need someone to diagnose me. And that is really where I feel my best value is I want to help people get over that hump and to take themselves step by step, use their inner strength, and I will be there to help encourage them or to challenge them. But I'm not going to diagnose them.
Yeah, so that kind of answered what I was going to ask you is your focus as a coach, why you picked that particular type of person to help, because you experienced it. And a lot of us as coaches help others because we were our own best client, really, in a sense.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
experienced whatever we went through and we like want to make it easier for other people because it is difficult. That whole loss of identity when you were that leader in the corporate world for so long, it's difficult to shed that. Not just shed it, but find a new identity for yourself or the identity that basically you were meant to do or meant to be in this lifetime. And
Yeah.
and working for someone else or doing what the other job was great. It gave you great lessons. You enjoyed it. You
Yeah.
financially were able to benefit from it, but there was something more to life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there was something more. And, am I at the age where, yes, I probably, I could have just said, I'm just gonna live the life of leisure. But I'm kind of in that middle ground to where I still feel like I have these years ahead of me that I can still be very much a participant in the working world. But my working world, it looks different now.
Yeah.
So, I think people reach an age where they think, well, I'm gonna go, be put out to pasture. That does not have to be the way it is unless you want to go there. And if that's your choice, great. I just wasn't there.
Yeah. And just like your mom turning 100 and you said she's still mentally sharp, using your brain, learning new skills, keeping yourself active mentally and which is emotionally keeping yourself active, helps
Yes,
you live longer too. I mean, that's a great way to live longer.
yes.
Can you talk about the methods that you use in helping others and helping your clients? Because you said basically you were trained through the Brave Thinking Institute. What type of methods? How do you help your clients?
Well, going through the Brave Thinking Institute. I'm actually trained as a life coach and a life mastery consultant. So I've been given so many tools and so much information from this program that it's really a program of transformation. It's a program of working through your restrictions, emotional, mental restrictions that you have for yourself and building your step-by-step process. So my program is really, it's two-prong and it is based on the Dream Builder program of the Brave Thinking Institute. And it is really defining where you are, defining where you want to go. So you know where you are. And now you go through this process of really defining what your dream looks like at the point where you say, maybe I've arrived, but I'm pretty close and I'm going to continue to keep going. And it is a process, it's a step process of going through the step by step of learning to deal with the fear, the anxiety, working through your paradigms. It is structured both, Mary Morrissey, who is the leader of the Brave Thinking Institute, part of the program that I am certified to teach in is there's some online video from Mary, and each week there's a short video that my clients will watch, and it's Mary's teachings, and she is just a master of this and some simple tools and steps that you can take to get over that fear or that issue or the anger. So it is a process of learning from Mary and then one-on-one time with me where we walk through the learnings of that week. So it's a pretty intense program from the perspective of it's not just we meet once a week and we decide what we're going to talk about. It is structured from the perspective of the learnings, and then the client and I take time to make it fit their lives, make
Mhm.
them, hey, this works for me, this doesn't work for me, or I don't understand this. It's just a real hand in hand journey from where you are to where you want to be.
We'll be right back. You know that feeling when someone asks, "Who are you outside of your roles?" and you go completely blank? I'm Lisa Andria, Second Life architect and host of the Ladies Who Leap podcast. I help women build their identity for the first time because many of us were never given that foundation to begin with. We spend decades being whoever everyone else wanted us to be. My work gives women permission to drop the performance and meet their authentic self. And when they do, the people pleasing stops, decisions become clear, and life finally feels like theirs. If you're curious where you fall, take my free identity void quiz. The link's in the show notes. And if you'd like to talk to me, please go to ladieswholeap.com and click on the Let's Connect button, and let's have a conversation about your identity. Now back to the show. Well, thank you for that, because I love that you really take the client on a very specific journey to
Mhm.
be able to understand and take the steps, especially getting over the fear and anxiety, because
Yes.
it's all new. You retire or the kids get out of the house and you're like, okay, who am I and what am I doing now?
Yes.
And even that question of who am I is very scary. It's just
Yes.
scary, and there's always that voice in your head that's telling you, oh no, don't even think about it, you can't do this, there's just no way, just sit back and play golf or something, there's no way you're going to be able to do this, and how silly of you to think of it. Those are the thoughts that are going through your head. So having a coach like yourself to be able to combat that and go through the process and focus on what you can do rather
Mhm.
than thinking what you can't do is
Exactly.
a really good way to go through that. Yeah.
Well, they say that 95% of your actions are really precipitated by your subconscious thoughts. And we don't even know we're thinking this. It's so tricky. The things that we're saying to ourselves in our heads, it's not obvious. I'm not sitting here thinking you are, unskilled, you have no talent. It's that, well, where are you going to find the money to quit your job and go a different direction? Where are you going to find the money to go back to school if that's what you want to do, or start your own business? So, those weekly little gems from Mary are talking about fear, talking about paradigms, talking about anger. And, it's that little nugget that gets the mind thinking on it. And then my client and I just take some time to explore it and work through it. So, yeah, I'm very, very lucky to be certified to teach this and to utilize this for my business, because I truly believe in it. And I know when I went through it and I was still struggling to understand who I was, and it is a very rigorous training. And boy, did I grow as a person, not only in my knowledge, but as a person myself, because I took those lessons and I worked through, what was in my head as well.
Oh, yeah. And I always say it, when those of us that are coaches, when we learn how to help others, it helps us always.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, talking about what you do with your clients, is there a story of a specific client that you loved helping that kind of sticks out for you, that they were really impacted by your work?
Um, yes. I guess my mind first landed, I'll go with what I first landed on. I worked with a client who, she's single. She's been married before, but she's not in a relationship right now. And she owns a restaurant. And her restaurant is this fabulous restaurant. It's small, and it reminds me of the show Cheers, where you have the regulars coming in, but then you have the new people coming in, and it's a place where people go, and you can tell it's a source of comfort for them. Not only is it good food, but it's a source where they come in and they're able to talk to my client and have this interaction, and they feel a sense of belonging. So that is really her ambiance, the way she wants the culture of her restaurant to feel. And what she found was she was losing that culture because there were a couple of her employees who were not really living up to her expectations. They were very good at what they did in their job, but they were draining the environment of positivity. It was just not consistent with her culture. And she really struggled with, I'm losing this culture. I want to get it back. And she did not quite know how to do it because when she would approach that conversation, those employees would push back and basically put it back on her that, she was being unrealistic and, the customers loved them. And that may be true, but there were other customers that did not feel that it was a good environment because of the conversations that these two team members were having. So we started at a point where she felt stuck. She wasn't going to be able to make changes. And we got to the point where she understood what she needed to do. She had taken steps. She was getting the culture of her business back. But that wasn't just, she also realized there were other parts of in her life where she was accepting mediocrity. So as we worked through this specific issue of how do I get my restaurant back, she learned that she was really kind of experiencing that in other parts of her life. So watching her grow in a larger portion of her world was such a rewarding experience for me, but boy, was it enlightening for her.
Oh, that's a great story. And I know people ask, oh, are you drained when you work with clients? I'm like, no, I get energized. I'm so excited to see them succeed in life and be happy and be joyful and be appreciative of what it is that they have in their life and excited for the future. No, I don't get drained at all. It was an interesting question, but I have found too that every one of the coaches that I talk to are just love how rewarding the work is.
Yes, it is. It's so rewarding, and you help your clients to recognize and celebrate even when they're just small steps.
Yeah.
And the small steps can be so nurturing to the bigger steps.
Yeah.
So yes, it is. It is a very motivating, uplifting experience to work with clients.
We'll be right back. This episode is supported by Pacific Business Partners. Here's what I love about Angelica and her team. They don't just hand you a spreadsheet and walk away. Their fractional CFO service is for the founder who's outgrown DIY but isn't ready to hire a full-time finance leader. Monthly strategy calls, cash flow forecasting, pricing analysis, and someone in your corner helping you make the big decisions with real numbers behind them. If you're scaling, planning a launch, or just tired of guessing what the data is telling you, visit pacificbp.com. Let's get back to the show. So I may know the answer to this question, but I will ask because I want women to understand that you can always ask for help. We're not always perfect, and we have days where we just need either someone emotionally to help us or even business-wise. Who do you reach out to for help?
Well, I'm fortunate to be a part of the community of the Brave Thinking Institute. And there is actually a group called Life Mastery Consultant, which I am. And I can throw out questions if I'm stuck on something or if I'm feeling discouraged, because I'm feeling, whatever. I might feel discouraged about something or confused. I can reach out to this group and get not only support in, hey, this would be a good first next step. It's also hey, is anybody else experiencing this? And the care and the regard that they show in their responses, that helps nurture you and it helps uplift you and make you realize, okay, I just take the next step. This is what I'm going to do. But I also have specifically, I have one friend who is very heart-centered. She's very similar in thought process to me, but we have known each other since we were 5 years old.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so, a few years we've known each other. And we're not afraid to say, hey, get over yourself, or, challenge us to look at something different or whatever it is. So I feel like there's a professional group that I can go to. And I do have other friends, but this one friend in particular, she's very spiritual. And her warmth just brings you in. But I also know when I'm off base, she is going to call me on it. And we all need that.
Oh
We
gosh,
need
yes.
someone to say, get over it, get over yourself, and get past it. Or sometimes you just need someone to say, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you feel that way." You need that nurturing, but you also need that little kick sometimes to take that next step forward.
Yeah, that's perfect. So, in the end, I ask my guests to provide their favorite quote, mantra, or positive affirmation. What do you have to, and you can share more than one. I know people feel like, oh, I just had to pick one. Whatever you want to share, we'd love to hear it. Yeah,
Well, if I could share two, because
that's
there are
great.
two that
Yeah.
always rumble through my head, and I'll start with the first one. And it really applies to business, but boy, does it apply to us as we're growing as individuals. And that saying is, you get what you focus on. And if I focus on the negative, I'm going to get the negative most likely. So obviously, go to the opposite of that. If you focus on the positive, you're going to bring positive into your life. You put out positive energy, it's going to come back to you. You put out kindness, it's going to come back to
Yep.
you.
Yep.
And, it's very easy to tear other people down to make ourselves feel better. You're putting negativity out there. So put that positive out there, build people up, and it is going to help build yourself up.
Yeah.
And the other, I'm going to go back to my almost 100-year-old mother, who, when I was a little girl, I mean, I was young and I was excited about an event that was coming up in my life. And I kept saying, "Oh, I can't wait for this. I can't wait for this." And she very simply said, "Bronwyn, don't wish your life away,"
Oh,
which meant enjoy today. Today is full of so much. And maybe, yes, I'm going on vacation next week. I could very easily be saying, "Oh, I can't wait till next Monday. I can't wait, to go to on vacation." But I'm going to miss today and tomorrow and Wednesday. And, my mom telling me that one day, it stuck with me. And it was such a simple, but what a smart thing to say. Enjoy today.
yeah.
Enjoy this moment.
Yep.
And the other thing is going to come
Yep. Have your presence, just have a really good sense of being in the presence of yourself and others every single day.
every single
And I
day.
love the whole idea of being curious too, because a lot of us coaches have that high curiosity gene too, because we really want to be able to learn more all the time, learn about our clients, help them even more, and be curious about how, like, I used to call it an inner truth explorer is one of the things that we
Ah,
kind of do. Yeah, because
yeah.
we're finding out what the truth is for them. What is their truth, right?
Right.
Well, how can people reach you?
Well,
What's the best way?
I am super good on text messages and phone calls. I love that. So I would always say the fastest way to get a hold of me is to actually just text me. I also phone calls, I return phone calls, but texting is so quick, and I am quick to get back to people. So my phone number, I don't know if you want me to share that
Well,
right
is that
now.
information on your website, the phone
It
number?
is,
Okay,
right.
let's
So
give them your website because then they can see other information about you. Yeah.
yeah, so my website is bronwyngorman.com. Very,
And
very
I'm going to
simple.
have that right underneath you. You'll
Mhm.
probably see that if you're watching the video. And
Yes,
because it is spelled Bronwyn, and
correct.
then Gorman is with an AN at the end. So I'll
Yes.
have all those links and they can learn about you and then the phone number to text you. I love
Yep.
that you want to just get your text.
Yep.
And that's the best way to contact you. I want to thank you
Mhm.
for spending the time because it was such a lovely experience. Number one, learning about your mom who's turning 100 soon.
Yep. Yes.
And by the time this is out, more than likely she's had her birthday. So she's 100 years old. And that is,
Oh,
and to be such a resilient woman with such wise words to tell her children. She's a really great lady, and it's nice that you can honor her so much all the time.
She is a wonderful woman. So thank you. And Lisa, I had a great time. It's just I love talking about this business and I am so lucky to be able to be in this business. So thank you for letting me speak about it for a while.
You are welcome, and I'm sure people will benefit by getting in touch with you and being able to talk to you or text you.
Text you me. Yes, I love those text messages.
Everybody have a great rest of the day. And remember to like, subscribe, follow. And if you have a great leap story, come to me. I'd love to hear it. And that way, storytelling, we can have everyone else hear about it and learn from it. You're all an inspiration. And remember that.
All
Thanks
right.
again. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thanks so much for listening to Ladies Who Leap. This episode was brought to you by Pacific Business Partners, helping women entrepreneurs build businesses with clarity, structure, and soul. If you're ready to take the next leap, learn more at pacificbp.com or follow at Pacific Business Partners on Instagram. I'll see you in the next Ladies Who Leap episode.